Action!
Hello ladies and gentlemen, I'm Ron Bandenburg. I'm in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and this is my 1958 Impala Chevrolet. This was the first year of the Impala. I've had this car about 4 years. I bought this car at auction from an individual in Independence, Mississippi, and I had it shipped down here. And I've put it in occasional car shows, and tonight I'm out here on Los Olas. It's a beautiful night, and it's a pleasure to be able to talk to you a little bit about the car. We'll cut.
Perfect.
Is that enough?
Action!
This car has a Continental kit on it as well as fender skirts. The interesting thing about this car as well is it has power brakes, of course power steering, electric windows, electric doors, and also it has factory air. And from my research, most of the cars in '58 did not have all of those items. I believe this car was probably a showroom car when General Motors made it and put it out into one of their showrooms. This is the original color. It's called Sierra Gold. It's a stock color from that year, and it is an off-frame restoration, and it was repainted with the original stock color.
So, back in the time of when this car was driven, who would usually buy one in a car like this?
Well, it's interesting because one of the most famous people at the time that owned a car like this was Buddy Holly. His first car was a 1958 Impala Chevrolet, and in fact, his car was recently, I noticed, for auction and sold for over $100,000.
Nice, perfect. So how are you enjoying the show? Do you like this? This is common in Fort Lauderdale to do these events, cars?
Yeah, I mean, the show is awesome. I mean, it's a beautiful night. There's not a cloud in the sky. It's cool, low humidity, and we're on Los Olas, which is a beautiful area in Fort Lauderdale. This is the place to be, and if you like cars and you like good food and some fun, this is the place I would encourage people to come out and see if you're in the area. I think it's the third Thursday of every single month we do this during the season.
Did you get a chance to walk around and see the other cars? Which cars got your attention?
Well, I haven't looked at all of them, but the cars that get my attention the most are cars in the late 50s, usually the Bel Airs, the Impalas, and I'm also a sucker for Corvettes. I love the Stingrays, and the late 50s, early 60s Vettes are always high on my list.
Perfect. Last question. Basically, you're going to invite people to come to these events to enjoy, to bring the family and have fun. It's worth it to spend the night here with the cars.
Yeah, I would encourage anybody that lives in the area to come out to this event. It's a great event. It's for family. There's plenty of places to eat. There's good music, and if you're a car enthusiast, you can always connect with a lot of the other people here that have cars. Again, I would encourage everybody to come out and enjoy themselves.
You got it. Action!
Okay, my name is Mike McNeal, and I have this 1956 Mercury, and I've owned it for about 5 years. And I purchased it at a car show in the middle of the state of Florida. And my wife's cousin convinced me to buy it since it was an original car, and I'm the second owner. Turned out that the car is even though it's a four-door, it's a rare model for Mercury for the year, in the sense that it came out mid-year and they only made it for 6 months. It turned out that the engine is a NASCAR engine, and it has different numbering systems on it, and is a very, very fast car for the type of car it is and its age. I've had a lot of fun restoring it, although all I did is chrome the back bumper and paint the white because it was full of all kinds of paint chips since it was on a farm. I also had to redo the interior, but I had it done in the original color and shape, so it's part of the Art Deco era. It has 3 colors inside the interior, which is black, red, and white. And also, everybody comments about how large the steering wheel is, which is a lot of fun to look at.
One question, does the car share components with other cars from the same company?
Yes, the engine, transmission, frame, suspension is all the same as the 57, 56, 55 Thunderbird and all the other Ford products. The suspension, as far as the wheels and rims, are the Lincoln model, because when you go to buy rims or tires and so forth, they're the same as the Lincoln during that same era. This model has an automatic transmission, and the engine has a 4-barrel carburetor, and it's Ford's first time designing an overhead valve, since the couple years before it was only a flathead.
Perfect. How was it received by the public when they released this model?
This was the second year of the 55, 56 Mercury era. 55 was its best sales ever in the history of the Mercury brand, but in 56 there was a slight recession, so the sales of this model actually dropped over 1955 model year.
Perfect. Action.
This car is part of the Art Deco era of the 1950s, and this was mid-year model, and it was in competition with the middle-class type of a car, such as the Dodge and the Buick and Oldsmobile. However, it was Ford's model that competed against the Chevy, which was a very high-performance model, in which this also was. But it was never really that known because of the fact that they didn't sell as many as Chevy did. But for the most part, the car looks like it weighs a lot of weight compared to modern cars today, but believe it or not, it only weighs 3,400 pounds fully loaded with fuel and oil in it. So with the size of the engine, it's quite lively. So that's it.
Action.
All right, this is the Art Deco era of the Mercury line. As you notice, the interior is black, red, and white. And I did have to replace the red portion of the seat, but the rest of it is all original. Today, the clock still works, the radio works. The air conditioning wasn't offered in this year until end of the year, so dealers would install the under-the-dash type of air conditioning, which this has. All the instruments work on the car, and none of the parts on the dash I have to re-chrome, because that's the way they were. The steering wheel and the shifter and so forth is all the way it was from the factory. The only thing I added to this car was the tachometer, which is a micro mini type of tachometer, so I could see how many RPMs a car runs at highway speeds. But a bunch of us from our local Mercury club went to Daytona in it, and we cruised at 80 miles an hour all day long, and the car just sounded great, and we had a great time. One unique thing is that the old ashtray is right here, and when I got the car, it was piled high with ashes. So that's the first thing I did, is remove that, because it made the car smell so bad. The radio works again, as I mentioned, and everything else works. It's just a fun car to drive.
So tell me, when you drive a car with so many decades in, do you have to have a special care while you drive it?
Yes, you do, because the car does wander a little bit. It's not as accurate as a modern car. So you're kind of constantly steering back and forth a little bit, and you have to be very aware what's happening with the traffic, especially since the car doesn't stop as good as a new car. So you have to leave extra space between the car in front of you on the highway. But other than that, it drives pretty nice. It handles pretty good.
How do you find all the spare parts for a car like this? Is it easy to find?
The parts that are mechanical are very easy to find, because almost all the parts are available, because the commonality of all the Fords and Lincolns and Mercurys, they all use the same engine transmission. So that's easy to find even today. Some of the hard parts to find are like the dash parts, the chrome pieces. All those are very rare. And some people, even to make a knob like this, you would go to a machine shop and have them make it special just for your one-time need. Although today you can get a 3D printer and make any part you want, so that problem might be solved in the near future.
Last question. Tell me, how do you like these events where car people get together and enjoy the night?
These events are very, very helpful, because we not only enjoy the cars, but we share information about where to get the parts and how to do things. And a good example is that I belong to the International Mercury Association, and a car was given to me by one of the members up north. And also, local members will help each other pull an engine out, get it rebuilt, and put it back in, which saves an awful lot of money and time.
All right, so to finish up, what do you say you give a little sip of the drink and wave goodbye?
Adios.
Got it, thank you.
Hi, my name is Herbert. I'm the proud owner of this 1965 Chevrolet Impala convertible. I've owned it for over 42 years now. Has over 154,000 miles on it. It has never been restored. Everything is original to it except for the paint and the seat upholstery. All the rest of the upholstery is original. Everything else in the car is original. The engine, everything is still original.
Tell me, over all those years, how do you keep it so perfect?
Most of the years, this car sat outside in New England. I have the pictures to prove it. But also, the last 10 years now, 12 years now, I've had a garage. So it stays in the garage, so it stays much better now. The paint doesn't fade on me like it used to. And that's why I had to have it repainted. But I just drive it, I enjoy it. In the past week, I put over probably 150 miles on it. I'm here tonight on Las Olas Boulevard because it's a beautiful street, beautiful area. I take it a lot of different places, and I use it also tow a boat, put stuff in it if it's too big to put anywhere else. It comes in handy for many other uses besides just being a show car.
So, tell me, why do you think you have this passion for this car, this love for this car?
I bought it as a used car when it was 8 years old for $400. The first car show I ever went to, I paid to park it in a parking lot and then paid admission to go in to see the show, looking at cars that were newer than this. That's when I became interested and started taking it to car shows. That was in the 1988, 89 era, and I've been doing that ever since. I just like this car, and I love being around cars. You meet a lot of people, you go a lot of places, and I can do a lot of things with this that you can't do with a regular car.
Like what, for example?
Oh, I've driven that down to Hollywood Beach. I parked it in the middle of A1A in Fort Lauderdale Beach. Last weekend I spent 2 days in the middle of Ocean Drive on South Beach. Parked right in the middle of the road. And numerous other things throughout the years. It's just a fun car. I enjoy doing all these things.
So tell me, what do your friends say about your car? Do you take their friends for rides too?
Most of my friends have nice restored cars. This one again is not restored, and they ask me when you're going to restore it. It's not going to be. This is a fun car, a driver, a car to enjoy, not to put it on a pedestal or in a showroom and leave it there untouched. That's not what I want it for. This car, I want it to be, to take it someplace when I want to. I've gone to the Keys, I've gone all over the place. I've been all over New England with this car since I've owned it. I'm not afraid to drive it anywhere.
Now, you have a very particular plate, right?
What?
Your plate, where is it from?
Okay, that license plate I put on the front, that's because of my wife. She's from Thailand, and that is a Thailand license plate written in Thai. It's a genuine license plate from Thailand, and that writing at the bottom actually says Bangkok in Thai. And it's just a fun thing to have there.
Action.
Okay, this is the interior of my car. Everything is original except for the seat covers, front and rear. I reupholstered those myself. You buy them online. Other than that, everything here is original to the car from the day it came from the factory. Tons of armor all through the years. I did replace the rug about 10 years ago or so. Other than that, everything works. Not a lot of technology on these cars. Radio heater, idiot lights for the oil and temperature and stuff like that. Not a lot of gauges. It's very comfortable to ride in. Very wonderful to drive. I don't drive it fast. I just go the speed limit all below her, and I love driving back roads and what with it. It handles beautifully, steers very easily. Like it's got power steering, brakes, and that's about it. Nothing much to it. It's just a simple car.
So basically, how could you define the handling on this car?
I like it very well. Is it sports handling like some of these cars? No. It's got standard shocks, standard everything. It's GM coil springs. It will lean on the corner if you do it hard and stuff like that. I don't do that. I want it to ride smooth, and this rides very smooth. That's what I like about it. It's a good cruiser.
Are you thinking on doing any upgrades to the car in the future, or are you going to keep it like it is?
Going to keep it stock. I'm a member of the Antique Automobile Club of America, Fort Lauderdale region. Been in here for many years, and I don't intend to change it at all, no.
Perfect. Action. question.
Okay, shape of the car, taillights, etc. This is the first year of what they call the Coke bottle style, which GM used throughout their line for almost 10 years. There's other cars here with the Coke bottle, one there, one there, one there. This flare in the rear end here is why they call it a Coke bottle. This is the first year of the Coke bottle style, 65. It is the last year of the triple taillights, which two are backup lights, but they're separate taillights. This is the last year they ran that. They started it in 58 on a smaller scale, and this is the last year of it. Other than that, there's not much here. It's a huge trunk, put all kinds of stuff in there. Used to keep a fully assembled 10-speed bike in there, spare tire, toolbox. It all fits in the trunk, no problem. In fact, full of stuff, but there it is.
All right, so to finish up, how do you like these events? Do you have fun? You meet people here? You bring family also?
I have my wife here. Sometimes I bring other people, but most of the people here I know, or they know me. We've been in the car clubs for years. We've known each other for many years, and I like coming here because it's a beautiful area. And another big advantage for me, it's not far from my house.
All right, perfect. Now, to finish, you're going to wave and say goodbye.
Okay, thank you for the interview. See you on TV.
Right, you got it.
Okay. Oh, you want this back.
My name is Bruce Henry, and this is a 1968 Mustang that I converted it over to look like the movie back in Gone in 60 Seconds, the movie was called, and there was a car in there by the name of Eleanor. So when I had to pick this car up, I had the body man paint it like the Eleanor, which was a gray car with black stripes. And if you remember that movie back then, it was stealing cars and had so many cars to steal in 3 weeks. So this was one of them. That was the last one they went after, and the police there in Chicago were chasing all over town trying to catch it. So I liked that movie, and when I had this car done, I had the mechanics there strip it down to bare metal and bring it on up, and then he put these extras on there, like on the hood, with the scoop on the hood there. And I got the bigger wheels on there too. It's a Cobra wheel. These are real Cobras. This is what they call the 68 California Special, the body. And then I had it redone like the movie. And it has a 302 V8 engine in there, Ford V8 engine. And the transmission's automatic, and then it has the air conditioning in it. And she can go down the highway to keep up with the best of them. So this is my pride and joy. And it has has the bigger tires in the back to give it more traction when you want to try out for the time trials. I haven't done much of that, but I just like to do the city with this car. A lot of people remember that movie, just Gone in 60 Seconds. So when they see it, oh, that looks just like in the movie, because that was a 1968 that they had in the movie. So that's it.
Tell me one thing. Why do you think the Mustang is so popular? So many people like it so much.
Well, the thing is, when the first Mustangs came out, it was a car that people could afford, a new car. Back then, you could buy when they first came out, they called it a 64 and a half, but it was really a 65. And you could pick one up at that time in 65 for $2,800. And a lot of people could stand to be able to make payments on $2,800 rather than your newer, bigger cars, and the more luxurious cars were like $4,000 and $6,000, $8,000, which a lot of people couldn't. So that's what got it started. And of course, it's gotten bigger as the years go by. And now your Mustangs, if you want a GT or a Shelby are right up there to $80,000 now for a Shelby, and more. So that's what made them so popular, and that's why they are today. People are still looking for Mustangs.
So tell me, when you're driving down the street, what kind of reaction you get from the people?
Oh, I get a lot of reaction, because like I say, a lot of people remember that, and it has that rumble sound to it, so that it sounds like it's hopped up a little bit. That 302 is the racing engine in there. So I enjoy that in my late life, the way I am now. In my last years, who knows? Nobody's promised, like they say, tomorrow. So I enjoy it daily, this car. So I enjoy it very much.
Is this your first Mustang, or you've been driving Mustang for a long time?
No, this is my first one that I got. The first one. I was a Mercury man before that, and of course when this deal came up for this Mustang, that's when I went ahead and did it the way it was in the movie. And he did it just the way I wanted it done. It's got bucket seats in it, it's got air conditioning, power, and it's got power steering and brakes, and it's got automatic transmission. Just like for my age, automatic.
So tell me one more thing. When you are behind the wheel, how this car makes you feel?
Oh, it makes me feel young again. Makes me feel back in the 20s again. And then with that roar on there, it makes you want to get behind the wheel and just keep going. And she's good on the highway too. I can go on any 95 or any super highway and keep up with the best of them.
Have you done any long trips or planning on doing a long trip with the car?
No, I've gone as far as Disney World with it. We had Mustang show up there a couple years ago. I went up there with it. And last year, of course, was the 50-year celebration last year, the birthday of the Mustang last year. So that says something, to have a car that they're still producing in as many as they do now with a 50-year-old car. So they've been around a long time, and you see a lot of them on the road, still 65 and 66 on the road.
Now tell me, how do you like the new one, the one that just came out?
Well, they're very good, like you say, but it's getting so that the average person can't afford them anymore if you want one that's advertised on TV and so forth, because they're getting very costly, very costly.
Action.
As you can see, that this is a two-door hardtop, and when I had them make this car up, they put on these here scoops on the side to make it look like a Shelby. Shelby had these on the side, and to the back of the car, I had them put on an air scoop on there. They built this right into the trunk lid, so that gives it that same effect as a Shelby, Mustang Shelby. And it's a, like I say, two-door hardtop. And up here on the hood here, I have an air scoop on there also, like the Shelby's had. So that's basically it. And like I say, these Cougar tires give it that up, a little higher up there too than their regular tires. So that's about all I can tell you about this car. And it's, like I say, I've had the inside all redone, the steering wheel, and the dashboard and stuff was taken out, and I put a digital dashboard in there just like they have in the modern cars, like you get in the modern cars today. So Shelby and Mustang, people that have them, you can go anywhere and get Mustang parts just about anywhere, especially here in Florida. We have a place you can get a part right over the phone in 2 days, delivered to your house. So it's an easy car to get parts for. You don't have to go searching for them. They're very easy to get parts for them with the catalogs.
All right, last question. Let's say somebody is thinking of buying a Mustang. How would you recommend somebody who's new to the Mustang? What would you say to him?
Well, I would tell them that a regular Mustang that you can use every day is a car that a working person can afford, without all these other extras and stuff on it. But it's a car that'll be something that you can have for 10 or 15 years and still enjoy it.
Perfect. Now you're going to wave and say goodbye.
Goodbye now.
Perfect.
All right.
Action.
Hi, my name is Mark, and this is Nancy, and we are
On
in
Las Olas.
Las Olas enjoying this wonderful antique car show. We've always been big fans of antique cars, and as we see some of these cars, it reminds us of the cars that we had many years ago when we were young and innocent. But it's a fabulous show and really fun to watch.
Yeah, come and see, because it's really a great way to spend some time.
Did you find any car that you like, that impressed you?
Yeah, I like the Dodge that's right up front in the middle, and also the antique truck. I think those are the two nicest ones that I see here. And also the Chevrolet that's right in front of us now, which is really a terrific car. I had a 56 Chevrolet Bel Air convertible, and that was my favorite car in all times.
And what cars do you like?
Cars really don't do it for me. I love all the cars. I love the lines, and they're really fabulous to look at. This little pink, whatever it is, just strikes my fancy because it looks like a happy car to me. So it's just really fun being here.
So, final question. Who chose the shirt?
My husband's a pediatrician.
And this shirt actually is a collection of many shirts. There's a company called Jam World that made shirts in bright colors like this, and they made collections of 8 and 9 shirts. And after they made that, they took one shirt and put a piece of every shirt on it. And this is one of those shirts with like 9 different parts on it.
I'm sure the kids love it, right?
Absolutely.
The kids love it. And look at the sneakers. You realize he's wearing 2 different color sneakers?
See?
Yeah.
It's a good way to get kids' attention.
Yeah.
What do the kids say when they see you dressing like that?
Oh, well, they think it's really cool.
They think it's cool, and they tell their moms to go out and buy them 2 different color sneakers so that they can do what Dr. Tathine does.
Wow. All right, so a final farewell. Thank you
Right.
for...
Farewell, and thank you very much.
Thank
you.
you.
Have a wonderful day.
Bye-bye.
Perfect.
Okay,
All
great.
right.
Action.
My name is Korman Myers. I'm driving a 1973 Chevrolet Impala custom coupe. Pretty much had the car for about 7-8 months now. I found it online, and I found it locally, which is really tough for these type of cars. You'll either get them from California, Arizona, or pretty much overseas. So it was pretty tough finding the car in this type of condition. I bought it fully restored already because I didn't want to go through the rust work of, in the time, and also of doing the car. Pretty much a good car. It has a 350 crate motor from Chevrolet inside. I just put a turbo 400 transmission in it. The car goes. I mean, if I punch it, it basically goes. Great car to have, great weekend car, and also a daily driver if wanted. But that's basically it, pretty much to my story.
Tell me, when you told me you fixed some stuff on the car, what was the most difficult thing to fix or find?
Just the small parts, the emblems. I had to put a new a chrome front end on it. That was kind of tough to find. Mirrors, and also the hubcaps, because as you can see, I have moon hubcaps on the car, and they were pretty tough to find. And keeping it the basic original, because car guys know originality is the best. Not too many modifications. I want to keep it as original as I can. Everything on here, from the carpet to the dash, is pretty much original.
So what do you think you have this passion for cars? Is something from since you were a kid, or something new?
Yeah, this has been going on since I was a kid. Passion for cars doesn't just happen overnight. I've been a fan of cars since hot rods, and there's always been Chevrolets. I'm a Chevrolet guy. I don't think I ever switch over to Ford or Mopar. I'm a Chevy man from heart. I'm the bow tie guy. My first car was a 1985 Caprice Classic, and I you know, looked up and found the diamond in the rough here, which is a 73 Impala. And these cars right here, you can't just find driving down the street. So.
Is basically your first restoration, or you've been doing cars for a long time?
This is pretty much my first restoration in tail, because the other cars I had when I was younger and didn't have the time to do the full detail work on it. So now that I'm older now, I have the time to do the detail work on the car, and I know what it is that I want and I know what I'm looking for. So that actually makes the process a lot easier.
What kind of reactions you get from the people when they see you driving this car?
Oh man, they love it. They love it. They love it. Every time I drive down the street, I'm hearing somebody, you know, they're always questioning me about the car. And I have the guys that actually had one from day one when these cars were $3,500 off the lot. And it brings back memories. I mean, I have one lady, she told me, she said, yeah, I remember the car, and I remember the back seat the most. So that was a real a funny time there, you know. But I get heads turned everywhere I go,
So are you gonna keep on fixing it, or is the car is ready?
No, it's a constant restoration, because nothing is ever finished. You're always turning some new bolt. Just tonight, before I came in, I put a bigger drive shaft in it because I snapped the last one a few weeks ago. So I had to put a bigger racing drive shaft in it. So like I said, every other day is something new with these cars, and that's the fun thing about it. You know, you don't just drop them off to the shop and just say, hey, do this work, do that work. You know, you actually want to be detailed and more informed about it, because when somebody comes to you, you want to inform them on the things that you did with your car, and you want to be knowledgeable about it. So that's what makes the process a lot greater, and also the ownership a lot greater.
Do you find a good community here of car enthusiasts like yourself in Fort Lauderdale? Oh
yes, from the young guys to even the older guys, they love them. You know, there are plenty car enthusiasts. You have the people who they've always wanted one but never had the means to get one that love it and they're excited for you. And you have the guys that have had plenty of these cars and they're still excited every time you see them. Every time, you know, they smell the gas from the car, they hear the engine from the car. So, you know, it's always a good feeling.
Do you race against other cars, or you don't use it for that?
Every now and again, I'm red light to red light. You know, I'll possibly, you know, race. That's the fun thing about it. We don't go to drag strips. It's mainly on the road, you know, on the street. You know, when we race. So, you know, it's not even a quarter mile, but you know, you pull up to the red light. We may race go to the next light, so it just makes it a little interesting. Give me 1 second, okay? Okay, basically, like I said, I keep it very original from the moon hubcaps. I just put a new chrome bumper on, and as you can see, I don't know if the lighting really shows it, but the paint is a midnight purple. At night, it looks black, but as soon as the light hits it, you'll feel the paint pop out. I don't know if the camera can also get a good look at it. I have a custom-made hood with the nice low scoop on it to help it breathe a lot better. And like I said, the front end is the main detail of the car, and also just the lining of it, just the way the car sits, the angle, is what makes this car stand out. Yeah, this is a 1973 Impala. You can tell from the lights, the detail about the car, and the best thing I love about it the most is the back window, the scoop in the glass, aerodynamics, and also the scoop in the rear hood, also in the trunk area. Custom coupe. I have an air ride suspension on it so I can lower it and also raise it when I want, but usually I like to keep it at the slope Down in the Tri-County area, we like to call it squatting. We squat the car, sit low, and it's also great for aerodynamics also. So great car to have. If you ever own one, you know what I'm talking about.
And you're gonna wave and say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Action!
My name is Gene Barineau. I'm standing in front of my 1966 Mustang. Owned it since about 1990. Drove it for a few years and then decided to totally restore it. So I took it down, had it painted, took the interior down myself, and totally restored the car. Got a 6-cylinder engine in the thing, 200cc, air conditioning, factory air conditioning, under the dash air conditioner. And at the time that I restored it, I did the entire interior myself. So, as I say, I've owned it for a long time, and we keep it in the garage. We don't drive it too much, other than to car shows, things like that. So, other than that, that's about it. That's pretty much the history of the car.
Tell me, from all those modifications that you did to the car, what was the most challenging?
The problems that when something broke, it was like dominoes. And what would happen to it is you'd fix one thing and then something else and then something else. And with a car this old, it's going to happen. So what you do is you just take them in stride, fix them as you go along. But that was probably the most challenging. This was my first restoration, my first Mustang that I've ever owned. And I've never, didn't really realize what I was getting into when I started the interior restoration. However, we got through it, and it was fun. We enjoyed it. It took me 2 years, and in my garage at home, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So, in fact, I'm thinking about another one. So, okay.
We got it.
Okay. Okay, as you can see, I'm now standing in front of the car with the engine hood opened, and it's hard to see with the light. The engine is a 6-cylinder, 200cc engine, which I did have rebuilt a few years ago. Otherwise, it's totally original. Nothing added by chrome or anything like that. And that's pretty much what it amounts to, is factory air conditioning in the car.
Do you prefer body work or engine work?
Body.
Body work.
Yeah. Interior.
All right, so now you're going to wave and say goodbye. Thank you.
You didn't get in here.
I got her, yeah.
You got it?
I did, yeah. All right.
Good deal.
There you go. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you. It's going to be on Garage TV. It's channel 205 and 77 in Comcast.
Okay.
Or you can go online. You can go to elgarage.com.
Okay.
You can check it out there in about a month.
Will do. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Rolf Engelfried. This is a 1972 Mercedes-Benz 220D Slant 8.
So tell me, I'm talking about your car. How do you find it?
A former friend had it and talked me into getting it back in 1997.
Perfect. So what got your eye? What got your attention for the car?
He had worked on another car of mine and told me, instead of spending all that money, this would be a better buy for me, and so on and so forth. And I've had to put some money into it. It had been repainted before I bought it. It was originally maroon, and it's a diesel, of course, with a stick shift. It's the deluxe version with the floor shift instead of the column shift. The engine, hasn't been rebuilt, although I've done a lot of work to the car itself, but a lot of little things that needed work.
Is it true what they say that these cars are unbreakable?
Except for some mechanics who are pretty good at breaking it, yes.
What happened there?
Well, I've had the transmission ruined twice by mechanics who didn't know what they were doing. And there are a few idiosyncrasies. I don't have to worry about it being stolen because most people don't know how to start it. It's an old system. Not only do you have to turn the ignition and idle and do a number of things to start it, it takes a bit of time. And they just don't know the systems on the older car. They think they do, but they don't.
Being a diesel, what are the main differences you find on a diesel car compared to a normal gasoline car?
I've got 3 diesels now, and obviously they're a lot more economical. A lot depends upon the year they were built. The diesel lasts a lot longer. Big thing is changing your oil. It's easier to keep clean as far as the engine. In a gas car, forgetting the newer electronics, when you clean the engine, you have to watch that you don't get water and the spark plugs distribute any of that. You don't have any of that in a diesel. So if the engine's cold, I can just wash down the engine like I was washing the car with no problem. Unless I sprayed it directly into the intake or something, they're easy to keep clean, relatively speaking, compared to a gasoline car.
Perfect. Do you have any people that buys for somebody who has the same car?
You don't see too many of them anymore. Although I had a fella come by tonight, was very interested, wanted to know if it was for sale. I told him, well, anything's for sale for a price.
Will you ever sell it?
I would, but I won't give it away.
Okay. Action.
The design is actually somewhat of a carryover. Both the earlier and later models used a lot of the same components. Obviously the bumpers have been changed, they changed the power plant and the dash, but this trunk, for example, was the same on the previous 200D and the same as on the 240D. Some of the insignia and trim, of course, has changed as well. But they're, upgrades. The biggest thing is the power. This only has 65 horsepower and would normally, if you drive it regularly, average about 30 miles a gallon, which in its day was considered astronomical. It's fun to drive. It turns in a tighter radius than my Volkswagen. People don't believe it. I can go from one lane right into the other without having to cross several lanes. The disadvantage would be if someone didn't know the car, they could probably roll it at high speed if they suddenly flipped the wheel. But it's a great driving car. It was way ahead of its time. They had 4-wheel disc brakes even back then, which even my much newer VWs don't have. So the technology was, very modern. Gas tank is right here. Just unscrew it, stick the hose in, and pump away.
I recommend people to come to the show.
It's a great show. We have different cars every time, and you get quite a bit of variety. Tonight we had a lot of motorbikes, Ducati motorbikes, a lot of Corvairs. Sometimes we may have a lot of old. We've had a 1911 Packard, for example. We've got an old Chevy, and sometimes we have some cars from the teens here, as well as the early 20s.
Wait, goodbye.
Goodbye. Auf Wiedersehen.
My name's Bruce Ulmer. This is a 1964 Corvair Monza, automatic, 2.7 liter, 164 cubic inch Chevrolet Corvair. Rear engine, air cooled, automatic transmission. I already said that, Power Glide 2-speed.
Perfect. Now, this car is very famous for one thing, right?
Yeah, it's famous because it was the first American production car that was air cooled, rear engine air cooled. Porsche and Volkswagen are the same, rear engine air cooled, but this is the first American made car that was air cooled and rear engine combination.
So how does it drive?
It drives really well. I purchased it out of a museum in Ocean City, Maryland. Wheels of Yesteryear Museum. They were closing down, and I bought it 3 years ago, and they shipped it down. I had the engine redone, and I've been driving it ever since. Every day I drive it to work.
So what is it you see in this car that it makes you go and get your own?
I'm 64 years old, and I took my driver's test in a Corvair Monza, a 1964, and that's what this is. So it just brought back good memories. So I wanted to buy one, and that's it.
How was the hunt? Was it long or found it quickly?
There's quite a few of them on the internet. You can find them at Hemmings Motor News. Go to their classifieds, and you can search by year, make, model, and find any car you want. All right. This is the 2.7 liter flathead 6, lateral 6 they call it. It has twin carburetors, 110 horsepower. This is a Corvair Monza. The Corvair Spider, they had a couple of those here tonight. They're 150 horsepower, but this is only 110. But you see there's no radiator. It's air cooled, rear engine obviously, and give plenty of pickup. There's no performance problems. It gets around really well.
Is it reliable, or you have to fix it?
The carburetors, it's hard to find people to work on carburetors now because, I mean, that's a lost art. A lot of people are retired, but I've got a great mechanic, a good friend that can balance them out. You have to balance them out. They have to be synchronized just right. But it's running perfect right now. It's really running good, so I'm fortunate to have a good friend that can work on them. But they're a little tricky sometimes, but I've never had any problem with the transmission, brakes, everything's good. So like I said, I drive it every day, round trip to work, 70 miles back and forth, and it's never a problem.
So this Rolf Nader, I don't think he was very right on what he said.
Well, Rolf Nader, the story I got, what I heard was, he didn't even have a driver's license. He was riding with someone in the early model, in 1961 or 62, and they had trouble with the suspension. The young man that was driving went off the road and then overcorrected coming back, and it rolled the car. Rolf Nader actually got hurt and was in the hospital. So he had a so-called vendetta against Corvairs, and he really went after him. The 63 model, I think, this is a 64, the 63 the year before this, they put an anti-sway bar on there, and it really corrected the problem they had with it. But also, I read where the vehicle Rolf Nader was in that actually had the accident in, had underinflated rear tires. And it's very important to have the right inflation on the rear tires because that's where all the weight is, the engine. So you make sure your tires are properly inflated. So other than that, but a lot of people say that. He wrote a book, I believe it was called Unsafe at Any Speed. I've never had a problem with it, you know. So I don't believe, I mean, it was unfortunate he got in an accident, but it's been a good car for me. A lot of fun to drive. Thanks.